And add to the deep end with a huge splash of truth, facts, evidence. Is it clear? Swim. Say what you mean. Well, that's just the beginning of understanding, because after we get that understanding, how do we accept it? How we respond if it's not what we expect is paramount. Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out. Welcome to The Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges.
Hey, what's happening? Everybody, anybody, somebody. Welcome again. Thank you so much. Oh boy, if you could only see what I deal with, in preparation for this. Most of the time, it's like down to the wire. When I say down to the wire, I'm talking about the very last few seconds of, just before coming on. And here I is, and it's no different right now. Here I am. There's definitely going to come a day where I'm going to have it all hooked up, and it's going to be like I have dreamed of it. As of now, I'm just getting through, what I can get through. I didn't even check my shirt, my stuff. I've got my headsets on. I was talking with someone on Tuesday. Was that yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. And I was telling them about my live stream, and I was explaining that I wasn't looking to be famous or popular right now, but comment about information that I hear, because I am convinced that there is an answer to every question and there's a solution to every problem, as you will hear with my guest and myself. That's coming up in just a few minutes. And I believe if two people or a group of people, particularly during time of disagreement and or conflict, if they listen, if we pay attention, if we take into consideration truth, facts, evidence, and information, there's no way not to reach a resolve or come up with an answer eventually after you weigh all of the options. I guess an answer sometimes is harder than a solution to a problem, but I still believe that there is an answer and there is a solution to every problem, as well as an answer to every question. Whether you're going to make it to the end of a conversation that can and all usually does get tough is up to the individuals and how they are prepped. Again, I am considered just, my mama's, child right now. And maybe what I'm saying is nothing to anyone. But if you get the opportunity to listen, this is what I want you to take into consideration. Our personal preferences is important. And if there is no conflict, and it's okay to choose, things that affect you directly and only, so be it. But, the moment there is a personal conflict, not a personal conflict, there's chaos or just a regular conflict or a disagreement of some sort, two people have to come together and reason. And I am convinced that reasoning involves weighing things through the filters that I've come up with, universal principles, and with a little time, with a little information, wisdom, and patience, there is no reason why there should not at least be a peaceful resolution. You may not be happy. You may not like something. You may feel like someone is, getting over. You may feel like, maybe you're, taking advantage or, making out better than someone, depending on how you're weighing it. But either way, a resolution, a peaceful resolution is, what you want to talk about. It says my chat is disconnected. Please wait a while. We try to reconnect. So it's reconnected. Christine, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I'm not really looking at the room right now, but looks like I've got 4 people. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm cool with that. Thank you so much. Been a tough day, and guess what? I'm going to see my granddaughter real soon. I'm going to do some traveling over the next few days, and it's going to be exciting. So you will get some footage and some photos and maybe even a live stream from the location of where me and Bev Marie and her mom and dad were going to hang out with over the next few days. So stay tuned. Again, hey, Christine. All right, so I'm going to take a short break. You know how it goes. I'm going to come back with my guest, and we're going to have a really good conversation. By the way, if you'd like to chat with me, I'd love to chat with you. Travis Bridges 2 at AOL.com. Send me a message of some sort, okay? I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to talk about it. There's nothing wrong with talking. I really like talking. Again, I was speaking with someone yesterday, someone influential. I had a wonderful meeting. It was great, and I was talking about the live stream and pretty much what it's about. And what else was I talking about? That's my train of thought. I got a message up there. Talking about, that it's therapy for me, to be able to talk and reason. Eckhart Tolle talked about how a dog likes to chew on a bone. There's something he's trying to get into and he's getting. I enjoy it. I really do. I got talked about one time, someone saying, you enjoy. Well, yeah, I do enjoy analyzing situations and looking at things like under a microscope. Us like a scientist like to look at, things under a microscope. I like to listen to things, based on what people are saying. Your mouth is a big microscope and your ear is what do you call this? A stethoscope? Whatever your ear does as it relates to seeing something. And when you hear and you listen and you pay attention, there's a lot you can see. And I think it was said that verbal communication is only a small percentage of total. I'm going to be interviewing someone about their life. Considering my book is coming out, I kind of want to do the same thing simultaneously with my book as I'm doing with someone. So in the next few weeks, I might add a day or a night, or maybe it won't be live. I'll do my lives to tease it, but I'll have a special edition because I have someone that I think has an interesting story that I want to reveal. So I'm going to be getting into that over the next few months, at least to the end of the year. I committed to 20 hours of recording, which is a guaranteed double of editing. So I've got 20 hours of recording and 40 hours of editing. And I'm thinking that might get me at least through the end of the year, maybe into the first part of the first quarter of next year. But it's going to be interesting, and I'm excited about it. Anyway, with that being said, don't move. I'll be back in about a minute and some change, okay? Thank you again. Who's with me? Christine and 3 other people.
Idea of being open to anything outside of what we've already concluded is golden, especially if the new information is transparent. The Swim developers would like to say thanks for supporting, watching, listening, and sharing this information. Now, back to the swimming pool. Let's dive in and swim.
Yeah, we're going to dive in and swim. I'm getting a message that I'm pausing and I've got stuff going on, and I'm seeing messages up here, error messages. I don't exactly always know what they mean or why. But I'm really not. Thank you very much. I'm just going to go ahead and keep on moving and hope that it's okay. Here's what happens. If there's an issue with the live stream, I'll upload at least the interview part. So I'm going to go right into it right now. Okay. Catch you later. Thanks again for tuning in. Have a good evening and enjoy the rest of Swim.
Okay, good evening. This is a rather unique experience, a little different than normal, but I'm going to take advantage of every opportunity that I get. As you well know, I don't name my guest by name anyway. However, if their character and or personality comes through and perhaps their voice is recognized, then it's okay, but there will never be an official notification or documentation of the name of my guest. The primary reason is because I want the message and not necessarily the messenger to be featured. So with that being said, This is SWIM, SWYM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. We are holding each other accountable for what we say. Oftentimes, when we speak, we find ourselves saying what we feel, what we think, and or what we believe. And unfortunately, those things get twisted when someone is listening, they're hearing, and they're thinking and believing also. So it's necessary to have a conversation that will last until both parties or all parties are clear with what has been said, that has been heard, that has been clarified, and that has been finalized as what was said, what was meant, what was heard, and what was actually listened to. We examine all of these conversations for facts, proof, evidence, and mostly clarity. The last time I was here, I spoke to my guest about the belief in whether or not there is an answer to every question and or a solution to every problem. So I'm going to welcome my guest. Everybody welcome my guest. Guest, welcome. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad at all. Thank you. So I'm going to start by asking you, is there an answer to every question, and is there a solution to every problem, yes or no?
Yes.
Tell me why you think there is an answer to every question and a solution to every problem.
There's a solution to every answer.
No, a solution to every problem.
There is a solution to every problem because there is an answer to every problem.
There's an answer to every question.
And to every question, there's an answer.
Why do you say that?
Because to every negative, there's a positive. To every positive, sometimes there's a negative. But definitely to every negative, there's a positive. Because you could, I don't care what negativity it is, you can always think of something positive out of it. You can get something positive out of it if you're a positive thinking person.
Okay, I had you for a moment. You said always, and then you concluded with if you are a positive thinking person. Okay, so I had a guest that said no, there is not an answer to every question, and there's not a solution to every problem. What do you think about that mentality from someone who doesn't believe that? Now, I'm going to tell you what I think about that person who is my very dear and close friend. But we're talking about the mentality, not the person. For someone to say, no, there's not an answer, and no, there's not a solution. What are your thoughts about that thinking?
Because sometimes we don't always get the answer to the question. And I know for a personal experience, sometimes we just don't get the answer. However, there is an answer. We may not always know or understand or get it, but the answers are in the heavens. I mean, God knows all things. He knows why, what, when, and where. And whether we understand it or not, one day we will. So therefore, the answer is there. We just may not grab it while in this earth, in this life.
So, an individual that doesn't believe that, what are your thoughts about that mindset?
That they don't believe that there's an answer for every question?
Or a solution to every problem, yes. A person that does not believe that, what are your thoughts about that mindset?
Well, we'll all know one day, right? When we transition, we'll all understand it all one day. We won't understand everything in this life. We're not supposed to understand everything in this life. And that's even, I'm talking to myself right now, because that's a hard thing to even address for me, even right now, because There's some things I don't understand. In my head, I'll never understand it.
Okay. So I think we're shifting the focus, and I think you're answering the question without me having to ask. Understanding it is not the same as believing it and or knowing it. Maybe knowing it a little, but we're not talking about understanding it. And that will segue me into my guest, where my guest had that as a doubt. And I think what she was saying was that because there have been questions that have not been answered yet, and or problems that have not been solved yet, that's what I think her doubt was. We didn't get around to that, but if I had to carefully analyze and or diagnose the situation, I think that's what she was thinking when she hauled off and said, no, I don't think so. Because I can understand that there may not be an understanding or there may not be a solution as of yet. So with that being said, I can relate. And that's what I think the mindset, well, maybe not the mindset. I think that's where she was coming from. We did close the conversation and she did change her thought. But I think that's why she said no. But I want to tell you what I think about the mindset and or mentality of a person who does not think or believe or know that there's an answer and a solution to every problem and question. I don't think you gave me your answer, but I'm going to tell you mine. Did you give me your answer of why you think that is why? What do you think of an individual who doesn't think that or believe that? Because I don't think I heard your answer.
I think that for a person who don't believe that there's an answer for every solution or every question is because of their experience. And when they've had an experience where they don't understand and they're angry and they're bitter towards it, or they're like, it takes them to a different place, a different dimension, it's like they don't want to understand. And I relate to that. And it's like there is zero understanding for certain things, and I would say loss. If a person is in a place where there's a loss, a strong loss, there's zero understanding. You can't tell me nothing. Can't nobody tell me nothing.
You're saying a person or you?
A person, because I know I'm not. It's not just me.
So you're saying if a person is lost or they're disturbed in some kind of way, you can't influence them that there is an answer or a solution.
Not if they're lost. Well, if they're lost
or angry, you mentioned.
If they're a lost person, then you can trace that back to generation. You can trace it back to childhood, that type of stuff. But I'm talking about a loss. If you have a loss of a child, a loss of a loved one.
A loss, not lost. A loss. Okay. Well, I'm going to say that I think I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to tell you what I think, of that mindset or that mentality. And I think it has to do with a person who has little or no hope and or faith. I said on my live stream towards the end that I think it's impossible to be a human and created in the image of what we believe our creator to be, to not have hope or faith. And this is how I justify what I'm saying, is because I asked my guests the last time if they had a terminally ill condition, would they hope and or believe for a healing or a cure? And they said yes. And if they had some kind of condition at all that affected them, could they have hope and belief, for themselves? If they were in a tough situation, could they believe for themselves? And there's not a person alive that is in pain or that is in need or that has a request or a desire that doesn't believe that they're going to get the answer If I need some money, I have to believe. I have to have hope. If I need healing, I have to have hope and belief. So to say that there is not an answer or you don't believe there's an answer, I found it contradictory for my guest because she could believe it all for herself, but then she would say no. And as I used the example, we were just having a nose measuring contest, and I think she got to the point where she just said no because, out of frustration. But after a lengthy conversation, she changed her mind. And then I asked her if she was manipulated, if she was persuaded, if she was, and she said, no, she wasn't manipulated or persuaded. The only reason she changed her mind was to shut me up or to make me happy. She did me a favor.
So you don't think that she changed her mind because you made her see it a different way?
Well, I don't want to say I made her, but I presented the information that was clear as day. And I do know that after we had the conversation and she changed her mind, that yes, you can't deny logic, proof, and facts when it's right in your face. You can be stubborn. And I think maybe she had a little stubbornness going because she said, okay, no, she still didn't believe it. She didn't feel that way. She was only doing it just to appease me, which was, I thought it was a waste of my time. It's like, okay, I sat here for, I think it was 37 minutes last week that I said, I presented all of this information. And although the proof is there and you can't deny it, you're saying your reason is because you just want it, because it's not, have been proven to you in some ways, but because you wanted to appease me, which was somewhat offensive, but I let it go.
So you believe that there is an answer to every question or not?
I definitely believe there is. I will go so far to say as I know it, because believing and knowing is definitely two different things. I am going to say, yes, I not only believe it, but I know it. And just because we haven't found the answers or the solutions doesn't mean they don't exist. And you said something that I'm going to steal for you for the rest of my life, and I'm only going to give you credit for it now. So the next time I say it, I'm going to say it as if I'm like so deep and profound and intelligent because what you said made sense. And I want you to think about it as I explain it to you. You said there's a negative and a positive. And if there's a negative, positive pretty much outweighs negative depending on how you apply it. You can have two negatives, but you're going to have a negative. You can have a negative and a positive. You're going to have a positive. You can have two positives. You're going to have a positive. So when you said that, I was like, ding, 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 ding. A light came on. And that's just an example of why not only I believe it, but because I know it, I believe that it's dark and there's light. There's night and there's day. There's hot, there's cold. There's a question and an answer. There's a problem and a solution. I want to talk about the Wright brothers. When they first tried to fly a plane, they failed. You would not have imagined during the wagon days when people were crossing, on horseback and on wagon trail, that they could just jump on a plane and just be here. They spent days going in through Central America in the mountains, crossing in the wintertime. People died because they didn't make the journey, not knowing that there was going to be a big bird that would take people from place to place easy. And that was a problem that a solution was found to.
Well, it reminds me, I'm sorry to cut you off, it reminds me of when, like in the Bible days, it's like the answer was always there, and they didn't know it, not until it came, not until it presented itself. So the answer was always there. God was always there. The answer came in the form of Jesus Christ for those who believe in that.
Okay, you must clear that for those who believe
for
in
those
that.
who believe in that.
Okay.
But regardless of the fact is that the answer is always there. It's as if we're going on a journey. And we're going around this mountain of not knowing. And we don't know until we get to the other side. We don't know until we actually get there. It's like our destiny is already foreseen. Be it whether when the time that we aspire, we die, the time that we excel in life, the time that we have children, the time that we get married, whatever, the time is already predestined. Whether you believe it or not, it is so. Because
so everything that happened was already
predestined. Whether you're a believer or not.
So well, just an example. I mean, don't lose your thought. It was known that you and I would be having this interview.
Oh, Lord.
That's what I'm asking you. Was it known that we would have this moment
I guess.
Okay. No, I want to make sure I'm clear.
Yeah, because I didn't want to do this. But, I guess the time was already set that this would happen. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate
because in everything in life, time, what does it say?
Seed time and harvest.
Seed time and harvest.
Wait a minute. Am I knowing the Bible? Wait a minute. You didn't even say it. I was like, okay, I think I know what she said.
You corrected me. Because
no. I just acknowledged.
I first said time. You said seed time.
But is that what you were getting
yes,
to?
Sir.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah.
Sir.
Well, that means I'm just.
Hey, that's the principle. Just like the principle of gravity. It's a law of gravity. It's a law of seed time and harvest. I don't care if you're a believer of the things of God, the things of Christ, or not. If you're atheist, seed time and harvest. It's a law. It's in place.
It applies.
Everyone. For everyone.
Okay. You mentioned that we're going to change gears for a quick moment. We're going to talk about universal principles, points of references, and law. Mm-hmm. You probably don't know what I mean when I say that, and if you do, that's fine, but I want to explain what I'm saying. Universal principles are things that just cannot and do not change.
Don't
as
change.
You mentioned gravity, don't change. So you do know.
You can't do anything about it.
Right.
It is what it is.
Points of references or points of reference is established by societies as what we call norm. I took sociology in college, and I took a college course called sociology.
Oh, stop it.
And I remember talking about norms, and I got it then, but I have a better understanding even now as I'm applying it to what I'm saying. Social norms is what is considered by most court systems a reasonable expectation. There are things that are set aside by communities and laws, lawmakers, that what a normal human being, when I say normal, that put a quote on that, would consider normal as an expectation or reason. So if we're looking at universal principles and then we have points of reference, you have a reference to what is expected. Okay, there's a speed limit in a residential area. There's a different speed limit on the open highway. That's considered normal. If you had your driver's license more than 30 minutes, right. The speed limit in a residential or a school zone is not the same as on an interstate or a turnpike. Okay, it's just norm. It's a point of reference
for the United States.
Well, a reasonable expectation.
Because it's not the same when you go out the country.
Of course. Okay, I'm trying to get the basics.
I get you.
So I don't know the laws or the reasonable expectations in other countries, but I'm just saying whatever it is, there's a social norm in those areas. There are some people who worship cows, and there are some people like your cousins that eat cows. Social norms are different. They're points of reference. So I guess I'm trying to say, and I want to get on to the third one that I like to use, as I call filters. There's law. A law is something that's created by a region, an area. A certain thing that's a law here may not be a law in another state or another region or another place in general. So you have a universal principles that is the foundation of everything. Points of references kind of sort of builds on top of that. And law just kind of sits on top of that as like, the tip of the triangle, so to speak. I am convinced, and I want to know your opinion, and then we're going to try to close. I want to know your opinion of things in general as it relates to either disagreement or chaos. Let's just use you and me, for example. If we have a misunderstanding and or a disagreement, and we're having a conversation, you want one thing, I want another thing. You say one thing, I say another thing. If we want to get to the bottom of that without having our personal opinions, because our personal opinions is pretty much what I believe is the problem in most situations, because a universal principle doesn't change.
Don't.
A point of reference has already been established and or accepted amongst society, and law is just in place to deter people who may feel different about points of reference. So you and I, you and your neighbor, me and my neighbor, me and my wife, you and your husband or whoever are in a disagreement. Okay, how do you get to the bottom of a problem when there's chaos? I have come up with a solution that I will swear by. Swear by meaning I will bet on it, so to speak. That if you filter the whole situation through universal principles, points of reference, and law, you have no choice but to come up with a solution. Because there are some things that just can't be changed. There are some things that are established, and there are some things that are just law. So why should there ever be an argument or a disagreement unless there's ego, attitude, and personal preferences in the way? Please tell me you understand what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying. However, you missed out on some things.
Please correct me.
Generational curses.
Ooh. Okay, how does it? Okay, go ahead. Name a few, and then we'll address them.
Your upbringing. Those two things you missed out on. They're very important. They're relevant. They make up our character. They make up our behavior. They make up us as adults. Basically, we don't deal with things.
I'm listening.
And so, those generational curses are real. They're not nothing to play with.
Okay.
And when you don't go backtrack to your childhood, the upbringing, generational curses are tracked back to your upbringing. And when you don't know your history of your ancestors, your mother, your father, your grandparents and such, it's like you grow up as an adult and you behaving in such a ways that you don't know why you're stagnated, why you stay broke, why you're repeating the same stupid behaviors, be it cheating, be it abusing, be it whatever, and not realizing that this stems back from when you was a child or back from your ancestors. It passed on. You don't understand why. You have to know where you come from to know where you're going. I thought that was the most stupidest phrase people could come up with back in the day. But as an adult, I realized that's so important. You have to know where you come from in order to know where you're going. Because if you don't know where you come from, you don't know how to change the things that's not right, that ain't healthy for you, be it whatever, in order to be a better you. You gotta know those things. Even if you just know a part of, that's enough. You gotta know everything, because back in the day they don't tell you everything. But as long as you know enough, what affects you What affects you as that adult? Like your behaviors that's not good or not healthy for your family, for your surroundings, for your environment, or even your mental health, whatever. If you don't know where these things are stemming from and target those generational and they are generational curses. They're curses. Once you target those things, you could start working on you to be a better person, be a better citizen, be a better mother, father, whatever, friend. So, yeah, you missed out on those two things.
Okay.
And they're connected.
Okay. I'm gonna let you slide with saying I missed out on them.
Yeah, you didn't say them. That's why I say you slide.
I didn't say them.
Yeah,
you're right.
You missed them.
I'm okay. I'm going to accept that. However, this is a yes or no question.
Mm-hmm.
Do they matter in the grand scheme of things when you're trying to get to the bottom of solving chaos?
Definitely.
As a authoritative figure, keeping those things in mind helps to reach conclusions or maybe even decisions as it regard to sentencing someone or deciding what happens after you have examined any kind of behavior for truth and or accuracy.
It's irrelevant. It's relevant. You can't disregard it. It's relevant. I don't care. You said sentencing someone. That means like a trial or court. It's all relevant. The court system is messed up. I almost cussed.
Don't.
It's messed up.
It's a family show. Don't cuss.
It's messed up. Really. It's really messed up.
Okay.
Because they don't care about trying to, like.
Let me jump in. And the nerve of me to be speaking up for the court system, but I want to, at least in their defense, I don't want to say they don't care because we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My question now is, does it matter at the time you have to make a decision on solving a problem and or answering a question, regardless of your upbringing? You say it's relevant. I will agree. 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 You will agree. We will agree. I will agree. Come on now, stay focused. Come on. We have to stay in this. Listen, I will agree that it's relevant. And I'm glad you used that terminology, relevant. My question now is, does it matter when you're trying to resolve the problem? First, listen, slow down and just listen to me. You said it's irrelevant, and I agreed with you. I'm saying as it relates to resolving the issue, does it matter? And you say it should. I didn't ask you if it should. I'm asking yes or no. Does it matter when it comes to resolving?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to try to cut to the chase for the sake of time because we're going to stop in about 10, 12 more minutes. So, if you are driving 85 in a residential school zone and you are stopped by officials who clocked you at 84.5 miles per hour in a 20-mile zone, does it matter that you had a bad childhood? Yes or no? Oh, it's funny now. Okay. It's relevant.
No, it don't matter.
Okay. Slow down. Okay. Well, then the principle is going to apply in whatever instance you put it in, because universal principles are universal principles regardless of your upbringing. Points of references are points of reference regardless of your history and background. And the law is the law regardless of your ignorance. Is no excuse to the law. So, of course, it's relevant. Maybe, instead of going to prison, you could probably go to, a sane asylum. Okay, maybe that could help in sentencing, but in reaching the resolve, answering the question, did they break the law? Do you break the law if you go through a residential area at 85? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you break the social norm if you go through a residential area doing 85? Yes or no?
Yes.
As a universal principle, does that kind of speed work amongst school kids crossing?
No.
Okay. So the point I'm making is it's relevant, but it does not matter. So
to every single situation. I wasn't talking about every single situation.
Listen.
I was only talking about character in your adult life, your behavior, your actions. But I don't mean that type of stuff. I'm talking about your character.
Fine.
Who you are as a person.
I don't want to get into too many things, because the further you get into the corner, the harder it is going to be able to get out. We're trying to establish something. And if it matters, then you say yes. If it doesn't, then you say no. I just pointed out to you how it does not matter. If it's relevant, yes, I agreed with you, but it doesn't seem like you agreeing with me. Does it matter? Yes or no?
Not in every instance.
I don't use every and all and everyone ever. We're talking about.
Okay, but I'm using in the instance in your characteristic, in integrity.
Okay, slow down.
Those types.
Slow down. That's another live stream. That's another conversation.
Okay.
We're trying to stay relevant and focused. And as I said, the more you go into that corner, if you keep trying to back up, because you're changing the measure, you're changing the yardstick. Every time we prove a point, you're moving the goalpost. That's the word I'm looking for. Where did character come in? Of course, character is, that has to do with your upbringing and your background and all that stuff. But we're trying to get to the bottom of a solution. We're trying to solve and resolve and answer a question. So my point is, does it matter as it relates to the law? Yes or no?
As it relates to the law, definitely not.
Okay.
Well,
I'm listening. It's okay to be inaccurate. Don't have the I don't want to be wrong spirit, because you're going to be laughing and nothing's going to be funny. Okay, I'll let you finish. Okay.
Hey, wait a minute. No. I mean, this is a deeper conversation, to be honest.
All conversations.
It really can't go deeper.
Okay, then let's be where we are and don't go worry about.
Okay,
deeping.
I won't go deeper.
Let's just reaffirm.
Okay.
Before you said it does matter.
Okay.
I'm asking it again after you've got a clear-cut example. Does it matter if you go through a residential area?
Okay, no, it does not.
Okay, well, that principle applies to whatever you come up with.
Okay.
The principle, the example, I use an outlandish example on purpose so that I can be dramatic just to prove the point. The principle is the same.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if we're getting to the bottom of a solution. If you want to talk about it and be cute about it, then okay, it's relevant. Yes, it's relevant. I'm not disputing that. It is relevant. But does it matter at the end of the day? Did you break the law? Yes or no?
Yeah, you did.
Did you break the law? Did you break the social expectation? Do you expect to see someone coming through at 85? You don't. And a universal principle, does that kind of speed work on a school zone? It will probably cause damage or death. Then there you go. It doesn't matter if you were sad or you were beaten when you were a kid, your mom or dad didn't listen to you, so one morning you want to get out in the drive. Okay, that's relevant, but do you need to get that ticket and or jail time or have your car impound if you crash into a crowd of kids? I'm being outlandish. How do we sentence you? How do we discipline you? How do we enforce the law if you are clocked at 85 in a 20-mile zone? What do we do for you?
Well, your ticket.
Do we let you keep your license because you had a rough childhood?
No.
Okay, so
I mean, that's not what we're even talking about.
Well, then this is the point that I'm making. The point
we'll
is,
stay on the point.
Okay, does it matter? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, now I have to ask you what I ask everyone. Did I persuade you? Did I manipulate you? Or did I show you information that proved a point that caused you to change your perspective? What happened just now? Because first you said, yes, it matters. And then you said it should. Okay, I'm not disputing it should. I'm disputing whether it does matter or not. And you said yes in the beginning. And now you're saying no. What changed your perception?
The perception was the example that you used.
Of course. Okay, good.
So that's the only thing that changed my perception, because in that example, none of that what I talked about earlier mattered at all.
Of course, it doesn't matter. That's the point I'm making. It's relative, but it doesn't matter as it relates to
the law.
To the law, the point of reference, or the universal principle. I'm giving them all benefits of the doubt. It doesn't matter to the fact. As a matter of fact, it doesn't matter. It's relevant. But if you, in reaching the resolve, if a person says, let's just say, if you're the person going through the school zone and you have an attorney, and his argument is, well, she had a really bad childhood. Okay,
come on.
That would be relevant.
No.
But what's going to happen? What is the jury going to say? Take the license and put in the no driving for a while. They don't care. Because it doesn't matter. Okay. So you said it does matter in the beginning. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, and we're going to close. We're going to close.
Okay.
Tell me a situation where it does matter. I'm saying it doesn't matter. It's relevant. How you feel, how you were raised, and I think your answer was your childhood experiences or, how you were raised. So whatever you said, tell me where it matters.
Okay.
I'm going to be quiet.
Okay, because you referenced how it did not matter.
That's exactly what I did.
Okay.
As it relates to resolving the conflict and coming up with a solution as to what happens when there is a conflict. If someone crosses the line of a universal principle, a point of reference, or break a law, we have to deal with that. Correct? All the background stuff is relevant. But when does it matter? I'm going to wait for you to tell me. I'm going to wait.
Okay, well, it matters.
If I smoked, I'd smoke a cigarette while I wait.
You ain't got to wait long.
Okay, good. Okay, make it snappy, happy, dopey, goofy, sleepy. Go ahead, make it snappy, happy.
You ain't got to wait long.
I'm waiting. I'm listening.
Okay, it's relevant.
I'm not contesting it's relevant. The point I'm making is, does it matter? Oh, she sounds like she's caught. Go ahead and put your hands up. Wave your white flag. Come out with your hands up, and where you won't get gunned down.
Listen. It matters in relationships. I don't care if it's husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, daughter, children.
I like to use neighbors, co-workers, boss, and
neighbors.
Employee.
I was getting there.
Okay.
Neighbors, co-workers.
I'm listening.
Co-workers. It doesn't. It's about the street. It does not matter.
You're saying it doesn't matter, or it does?
No. It matters. No, I'm saying.
Does it matter or no?
It does matter. I'm telling you.
So we're back on that.
Listen, no, we're not back on that because
tell me how it matters.
Hold on. You're telling me.
We've got 3 minutes left.
Hold on. You're telling me where it did not matter, and that was where it pertains to the law. Okay, fine. You're right. It does not matter in that area. But however, in other social and relationships type of areas, it matters because your character matters, integrity matters, stand-up person matters, how you deal and relate to people matters. All that matters when you deal with other people.
I agree with you.
Okay.
Fine. Add this part as it relates to resolving conflict. If you and
it matters.
Okay. I agree that it's relevant, and you didn't give me an example.
Can I?
I'm waiting.
Okay. where it pertains to resolving conflict, that's in any relationship. Because everybody's different. We're not made to be the same. Everyone has their own opinion, their own points of views. And so everyone had the nerve to express them differently because we are different. We have our own wills and everything else. So yeah. So when it comes to, relating to other people, it matters.
I'm waiting for the example.
Resolving conflict. You mentioned resolving conflict.
Give me an example.
Husband and wife.
That's a scenario. Give me an example.
Parent and
give me an example.
And the kids.
I'm waiting for an example, and so is my audience. And we only have 2 minutes.
You want specific?
That's what an example is. Yes.
You know what?
No, I don't know what. Introduce me to what one day, and then I will know what. But right now, no, I don't know what.
Listen.
Give me an example, please.
Okay. Where it's relevant is...
I didn't say... Well, I am agreeing with you that it's relevant.
You said resolving conflict.
Right. We're not talking about relevance now. We're talking about whether it matters.
In resolving conflict.
Whether it matters mean whether it makes a difference
in resolving conflict.
Yes.
Okay. It does. Because when one and two people are in disagreement, someone has to have the better sense. Someone has to have what?
The better sense to do what? The better sense to do what? I'm listening.
Okay, if someone is brought up in an environment where this it still stems to bringing
exactly.
Listen,
when they go through the school zone,
no.
It doesn't matter how they were brought up.
I'm not talking about law. I'm talking about upbringing and generational curse.
Okay.
When someone's brought up in a very negative,
exactly, and they go through the school zone, they still have to
an abusive environment.
Exactly,
okay?
I got it.
That's upbringing. That's generational curse. Okay, now they are an adult, not knowing how to resolve conflict. Now, instead of them resolving conflict, be it in understanding, listening, and love, be it patience or whatever, grace even, they literally attack it in negativity, anger, bitterness, and all that. And that's coming from the upbringing, generational curse. It's all attached the same. It's one and the same.
Okay, what I'm going to do right now.
However, if you have a different upbringing and you don't have that generational curse hanging over you, that spirit hanging over you, you're knowing how to attack conflict, because we're talking about attacking a conflict.
We're not talking about attacking.
We're talking about resolving conflict.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Thanks for coming back in.
It's the same thing. Is that you're now knowing how to extend grace, mercy, forgiveness, listening ear. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
All
okay.
Right.
So, what kind of grace do I extend for the person who speaks?
Do not talk about the law
the
again.
principle. That is the principle. Law.
That's man's law. That's man's law.
but it's also a point of reference and a universal principle.
That's not a use. That's not a universal.
Hold on a second.
Hold on, but it's not a universal.
Fine. Okay. Fine.
That's man's.
Okay. Of course it's man.
It's different.
Okay. Okay. Does speed and a crosswalk make sense?
Yes. It makes sense because that's law. That's the man's law.
Wait, let me ask you a question. Does a vehicle doing 85 at a school crosswalking make sense to you?
Oh no.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
I'm sorry, no.
Okay, it just doesn't mix because it's just not what's designed. It's almost like, what is an example? Electricity and water.
What?
Electricity. Electricity? Did I say it wrong? Electricity. Electric. Why are you laughing at me? Come on, let's stay focused. We only have a couple of minutes. I'm already over time. Electricity and water. You don't want to run current while you're standing in water, holding on to. Right. It's a principle, just like speed around kids and vehicles. It's maybe not a natural universal principle, but who would think to put a race car, NASCAR, in a school zone?
Okay.
It's just not the right setting for it.
Okay.
Okay. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and close. I don't think you have made a point, and you still have not given me an example. And it's okay. I'm going to close by saying there is no example where your generational curse matters when it comes to the law or a universal principle. Okay, hold on. Let me one more example.
Let me
give you
on that because generational curse does not apply to man-made law because man-made law has nothing to do with spiritual law.
I'm not contesting that.
Okay, so then you agree that we are talking about two different things, correct?
No, we're not.
How?
You're
talking about man-made stuff.
Okay, hold on.
I'm talking about spiritual stuff.
Okay, spirit has never entered into this conversation until just now.
Well, that's what generational cursing is. It's spiritual.
Okay, fine, but you added that. You said I overlooked it or I forgot it. I didn't. I didn't mention it because I didn't think it mattered.
You didn't think it was relevant.
I did think it was relevant. I didn't think it mattered.
Same thing.
It's not the same thing.
Not relevant, don't matter, same thing.
No, something can be relevant but maybe not matter. It's not going to change the outcome.
Well, we won't go into that example because we're getting ready to close.
Okay, we're closing right now, and I'm going to close by simply saying, regardless of how you were raised or what kind of generational curses are on you, if you stand on top of a 3-story building and you jump down, gravity is going to do what it does, whether you have a generational curse or a bad childhood or not.
However, being on that roof in the first place, it could have a generational curse attached. It could have an upbringing that was very, really, really, really bad attached to it. Look, don't do that. I'm trying to tell you, you have no business.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am scratching my head or I'm rubbing my face. And okay, we're going to officially.
You have no business on top of a roof.
Okay.
If you don't have these things attached in the first place.
I know that roofers have no business on top of roofs.
No. Right. We're not talking about workers. We're talking about people with mental, sociological,
I was giving you an example in general.
Okay.
I was speaking of falling, jumping, or just being pushed for whatever by accident, tripping. Gravity.
Pushed and tripping is different from just suicide,
I never mentioned that word. Don't introduce anything to cloud the conversation. We're going to close now. Do you have any closing comments at all before I make my closing statements? Yes or no?
No, I don't.
Okay. I appreciate your time. I really do. I think this was educational and maybe even entertaining for a few minutes. And go ahead and get your laughing out. But in my closing, I will say, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you being supportive of what I call maybe just even the system of you running chaos or disagreements through universal principles, points of reference, and law. Your background, your universal, your background or your generational curse does not matter when it comes to what's a universal principle, what is a point of reference, or a law. Of course, it's relevant, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact. If you break gravity, which is a universal principle, if you put your hand inside of fire, you're going to get burned, regardless of your your background or your generational curse or whatever. If you get in water below 30 degrees, you're probably going to freeze with the block of ice, regardless of your history and your background. That's the point I'm making, and that's what I'm going to close on. Thank you so much. This has been another edition of SWIM, SWIM. It is the acronym for Say What You Mean. My guest, I appreciate her and I thank her for her time, but she said something, but she might have meant something else, and I'm okay with that because I think I still brought awareness to how we listen, how we speak, and how we pay attention in terms of the information we discover while we're having, conversation. So with that being said, thank you again for joining me. I appreciate it. Find someone you need to say, I love you too. Don't just say it, but mean it and show it. Till the next time, have a great evening. Good night.